Welcome to Skillzam, a cure platform, cross-skill, upskill, reskill, and expert skill. We are your best learning partner for life. Skillzam, keep learning. Welcome back. In this section, you will learn about the basics of internet, like how was internet born, what do we mean by internet, what controls the internet, and what are the uses of internet, and so on. Genesis of internet. By the early 1960s, computer manufacturers had begun the use of semiconductor technology in commercial products, and as well as both conventional batch processing and time-sharing systems were in place in many large technologically advanced companies. The time-sharing system allowed a computer's resources to be shared in rapid succession with multiple users, cycling through the queue of users so quickly that the computers appeared dedicated to each user's task, despite the existence of many others accessing the system simultaneously. This led to the notion of sharing computer resources, also called as host computers, over the entire network. These ideas were first realized in ARPANET, which established the first host-to-host network connection on October 29, 1969. It was created by Advanced Research Projects Agency, or called as ARPA, of United States Department of Defense. ARPANET. ARPANET was the first general-purpose computer network. It connected time-sharing computers at government-supported research sites, principally universities in the United States, and it soon became a critical piece of infrastructure for computer science research community in United States. Tools and applications such as Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that is SMTP, for sending short messages, and File Transfer Protocol, that is FTP, for long transmission quickly emerged. In order to achieve the cost-effective interactive communication between computers, which typically communicate in short bursts of data, ARPANET employed the new technology of packet switching. Thus, ARPANET became the first wide-area packet-switched network with distributed control. Packet-switched network. What is packet switching? A packet switching takes large messages or chunk of computer data and breaks them into smaller, manageable pieces known as packets that can travel independently over an available circuit to the target destination, where the pieces are reassembled. This, unlike traditional voice communication, packet switching does not require a single dedicated circuit but a pair of users. Paul Barron, a Polish-American engineer who was a pioneer in the development of packet-switched computer networks. He was one of the two independent inventors of packet switching. After joining the RAND Corporation in 1959, Paul Barron took on the task of designing a survivable communication system that could maintain a communication between the endpoints in the face of damage from nuclear weapons during the Cold War. He had an idea of breaking the messages into blocks and sending them as fast as possible in every possible direction through the mesh or distributed network. Eventually, this became an American nationwide experimental packet network. The fathers of Internet. In the spring 1973, two American Internet pioneers, Vint Cerf and Robert Kahn, who are recognized as the fathers of Internet, came together and completed an early version of TCP, that is, Transmission Control Protocol, using Paul Barron's packet switching concepts. Later, the protocol separated into two separate layers, that is, host-to-host communication could be handled by TCP and Internet Protocol handling the inter-network communication. The two together are usually referred as TCP/IP and forms the part of the basis of the modern Internet. In 1974, they used the term Internet as a shorthand for internetwork. Define Internet. Internet is a vast network that connects computers all over the world. It is a network of networks that consists of private, public, academic, business, and government networks of local to global scope, linked by a broad array of electronic, wireless, and optical networking technologies. It is the global system of interconnected computer networks that uses the Internet Protocol Suite, that is TCP/IP, to communicate between the networks and devices. Internet carries a vast range of information resources and services such as interlinked hypertext documents and applications of the World Wide Web and electronic mail, telephony, and file sharing. The OPTI project. OPTI project, created in 2003 by Barrett Leon, seeks to generate an accurate representation of the breadth of the internet using visual graphics. Since the internet is so enormous amalgamation of vast individual networks that provides the relatively seamless communication of data, it seems logical to draw lines from one point to the another. This project has been a 17-year-old labor of love under the moniker of the OPTI project. The map has been an icon in what internet looks like in hundreds of books, in movies, museums, office buildings, education, discussions, and countless publications. The map has also become a teaching tool, allowing visual learners to quickly understand the internet and networking. Each line is drawn between two nodes representing two IP addresses. We'll come to what IP address in the next coming sessions. The length of these lines are indicative of the delay between two nodes. Lines are color-coded, like for example, green represents the .com, .org domain names, and red represents .gov, .edu, white means it's unknown, and so on. Why Internet? Internet carries many applications and services, most prominently the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web is nothing but a collection of documents, images, multimedia, applications, and other resources logically interconnected by hyperlinks and referenced by uniform resource identifiers. The Internet connects the participants, whereas the World Wide Web, or simply the web, connects the information, specifically hypertext documents via the Internet. Internet and World Wide Web are not the same. The World Wide Web is explored using the browser, and the act of browsing the Internet is commonly referred as surfing. Communication, like electronic mail or email, we call it as the concept of sending electronic text messages between parties. Internet telephony using voice over internet protocol, that is VoIP. Data transfer, like file sharing, is an example of transferring large amount of data across the internet. Streaming media, where the real-time delivery of digital media for immediate consumption or enjoyment of end users, like for example live audio and video productions. Mobile applications like Android or iOS apps. Multiplayer online games. Social media like Twitter, Zami, YouTube, etc. The internet has enabled new forms of social interactions, activities, and social associations. This phenomenon has given rise to a scholarly study of the sociology of the internet. And lastly, the IoT, that is of the latest, like Internet of Things, which describes the physical objects or the group of such objects that are embedded with sensors, processing ability, softwares, and other technologies that connect and exchange data with one of the other devices and systems over the internet or other communication networks. How does the internet work? As we now know that internet is a vast network that connects computers and similar devices all over the world, linked by a broad array of physical cables, wires, electronic or wireless, and other optical networking technologies. Just consider our home. We are so much connected in this modern world through the devices we use. Some consider the mobile device as an extended arm of humans. So many things can be done using these devices connected to the web, or we call it the internet, like send and receive emails at Gmail, chat with friends at Zami, watch educational videos at Skillzam, buy online through e-commerce websites or apps like Amazon. Suppose we have a PC like personal computer, laptop, mobile, and a smart TV at home. The very first thing we do is call up the cable guy for connecting us to the world of internet. These cable guys are from the ISP, that is Internet Service Providers. They establish the worldwide connectivity between individual networks at various levels of scope. ISPs provide the internet connection for its customers or members by enabling the data transmission between the computers over the web. At the top of the routing hierarchy are the tier 1 networks. Those are these large telecommunication companies like AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, China Telecom, Airtel, Etisalat, and so on. These telecom companies exchange traffic directly with each other via very high-speed fiber optic cables and governing by peering agreements. These fiber optics are spread across the land and even the ocean to make up the World Wide Web. Connecting home to the web. At home, these devices are connected by a wire cable or by Wi-Fi to the internet router. This network device called the router becomes a single access point from home to the rest of the external world. The router in turn is connected by fiber optics to the cellular tower of the ISP, and then they are connected to the World Wide Web. This makes the internet and the web possible. Who owns the internet? Well, that's a billion-dollar question now. While the internet is theoretically decentralized and thus controlled by no single entity. In some countries, certain parts of the internet are blocked via censorship by the governments of those countries. Many argue that FANG tech companies such as Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and few more handful of companies represent a small concentration of organizations that have unprecedented influence over the information and the money on the internet. But this is still a pseudo ownership. The reality is nobody owns the internet. That is one of the main factors for its vast growth and adoption. The internet is woven into our society, and by changing the internet, it is possible to change the world. This marks the end of the section on the internet basics. Thank you for learning with Skillzam, and never stop learning.